All right, we good?
Yeah, just a second. Yeah, should be good.
All right, let's rip it.
Rip it. Chief, no sound. Share with
Yeah,
sound.
you gotta reshare with sound.
So just stop sharing.
Can you hear it?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, when you go to share your screen, you gotta share with sound. There's a checkbox.
Second.
Sorry. We get it.
Share. Yeah, sorry.
Boot camp is about to begin. Rise up, it's time to log in. LP Army will teach you the way to be LP warrior starting this day. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul, and now we sing our song. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul, and now we sing our song. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Thereupon we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Spot, copy, ask, use them all. Winning's the task, we heed the call. Boot camp, join our ranks so tight. Listen to the goose gang and gain your might. We will print and we will earn. Points to gain as tokens burn. Join the ranks of the brave and bold. Story of the LP Army told. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Thereupon we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rug and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Make your position and join the pool. Poach your wings with Alex's tool. LP Army, we fight to win. Your journey is about to begin. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Bearable, we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the run and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Oh.
Hell yeah. As you would say, heavy metal cook.
Hell yeah.
Welcome. Hell yeah. Good met. All right, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the LP Army Bootcamp. And can you imagine if every Army's bootcamp started with a banger like that? Wouldn't that be great? Well, ours does. So let's get into it. Well, I'm going to hit you with the legal stuff straight away. Right. So a disclaimer before we begin. LPing and crypto in general, it's a lot like gambling. You should definitely manage your own risk. Figure out how much money you're willing to put into this stuff, assuming that it might all go to zero. It's not exactly the same as gambling, but it's not that different. So, you should really not be risking anything more than you can lose. And this should go without saying, but whatever we say in this presentation today and what the instructors say, it is not financial advice. Do your own research, manage your own risk, make your own decisions, take responsibility for your own funds. Now, with that out of the way, let's go over some prerequisites, what you need to get the most out of this bootcamp today. Obviously, you need to agree to those terms and conditions. It's not on me. You choose what you put in. But what you'll definitely need is a Web3 wallet, specifically one that supports Solana, and have it installed on your browser. We're going to start small. You don't really need, the beauty about the DLMM is you don't really need a lot to learn how to use it. You can do it with a very small amount. We're going to prepare ourselves to go through some ups and downs. Some you'll win, some you'll lose. All of it's a learning experience. Consider anything that you lose as part of your tuition to learn how to LP properly. And, every time you lose something, review, try and analyze what might have gone wrong, how you could have managed to risk better. Failure is the best teacher. If you lose out, do what you need to do to get it out of your system, then give 100% of your focus to the next trade, because it requires that kind of respect. Don't dwell on your past. When you're consistently winning, hold yourself accountable. Say if you want to increase the amount that you're going to LP with, you've got to earn the right to do it. So start small, make your way up, and hopefully over time things will get faster and bigger. Right, so who am I? My name is Chief. I am one of the founders of GooseDAO, which is a LP Army sub-DAO, where all the cutting edge LP stuff seems to happen. I'm a surfer, live on an island in Philippines, into gaming and crypto, of course. In my past, I used to work in startup incubator accelerators and co-working. I started my crypto journey in 2020 with ETH NFTs and helium mining. I found Meteora, just probably as many of you have found it, by doing your rounds of airdrop farming. And that was around January time this year. And I got into Meteora. I started chatting in the Discord. I watched a few of the boot camps, and I realized that I could make more consistent wins more regularly and much faster than I was doing with my airdrop farming. And since then, I have LP'd basically every day since February. I'm not a whale. I'm not anything I'm not a super pro, but I feel pretty confident and competent in the DLMM, and I hope to help this journey happen to you in a much faster time frame than it happened to me. So let's get into it. One of the things that really helped me learn in the beginning was a lot of the fantastic other people in the LP Army, in particular the founder of Meteora, Ben, his weekly calls and setting up the LP jams. There are other instructors that host many of these boot camps. And there are a few instructors on the stream today here to answer your questions. We have Sado, who will answer in French if you speak French, and I believe later we'll have Jason who will speak in, who can answer questions in Chinese. If you are going to get the most out of this bootcamp, I would suggest using, there are no stupid questions, ask away. We're very happy to answer any question that you have. We just ask that you use Zoom's Q&A feature, so it makes it easier for us to manage the questions as they come in. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask. Either I'll answer them or one of the instructors will answer. The exercises that we're going to do today are really intended for you to participate in and learn by doing. So we really encourage you to get involved, give it a try. These things will not be a requirement for you to graduate the bootcamp, but they will really help you achieve the skill that you need to graduate. And the bootcamp is something that's being iterated and improved regularly. So we really welcome any feedback that you guys have, positive, negative. Yeah, we'll take those into account and hopefully improve our bootcamp for you in the next one. So before we begin, have a look at this links of resources that we have for everything to do with the DLMM. And there's a bunch of documentation on here and deeper reading. I would recommend you get if you really want to get into this, you have a good look into all of that stuff. More information about our point system and the dashboards and the links to the community tools that we're going to use, and the sort of various YouTube's channels that you can look at, and other communities that that are LPing regularly. And maybe we can share this link in the chat for you guys, in case you are on the desktop. All right. So what are we going to do today? Yesterday, we kind of went over the basics of Meteora, of the DLMM, how to set up a position, what bin steps mean, what the TVL means. All of those things are available for you to rewatch. Will be published on YouTube, as well as today's session will also be published on YouTube. But today, what we're really going to look on is expanding what you learned in day one and applying it and having a go at trying to make some money with the DLMM. We're going to take you on a grand tour of all the different community tools that are out there to help you find tokens, to find opportunities, to check safety, help you pick the strategy that you might want to use. And we're also going to cover a little bit on how to read some, yes, Jorge is a trustable person. So we're going to show you some basic ways to use technical analysis that will help you with LPing specifically. And we're going to give you a little task that you have to do in order to graduate from the bootcamp and earn the LP Army private role in our Discord. At the end of that, we're going to do some Q&A. I'm sure there will be many questions as we go through it all. And so what I hope you all be able to do by the end of this session is identify whether or not a token is safe to LP or trade. We're going to look at the telltale signs of something that's a rug or a scam or a honeypot. We're going to cover basically all the areas and functions available on the DLMM and how to use it in conjunction with all the on-chain tools that are available for the platform. We're going to see how to identify good opportunities, how to pick the right kind of pool to DLMM in, look at how to identify the bounds in which you want to set your position, which strategy you might want to pick for different situations, and we're actually going to go in and DLM something a little bit more volatile, but nothing too crazy. this slight repetition of what I've said, but go into more detail. Being a good LPer, in my opinion, it's really a matter of having a good method, practicing, testing and iterating and learning, and of course, collaborating with other people. So Missy's asked the question. Yes, you can ask questions from yesterday's class. The other instructors will be happy to answer them for you. And so, yeah, when it comes to thriving as an LPer, it's really good to set yourself some rules. Try and approach it with a systematic approach. For example, you might want to segregate the funds that you want to use to LP from your spot positions or your other investments, crypto investments. Have a separate wallet for it. When it comes to tracking and analyzing your performance, this also makes things much, much easier. So the name of the game, in my opinion, is risk management and consistency. You got to figure out how much you want to LP with, and how much of that you want to risk in every position that you open. And then also, I would probably set yourself a rough target of when you would take profit. I think it's very important that you not only set when you want to cut your losses, but also before you enter a position, set when you're going to take some profit out of the LP position that you're going to make, and get to know what your risk tolerance is. This will happen with time. If you're LPing and the price goes down and your heart rate starts going to like 180 and you start getting a bit sweaty and nervous, you're probably going a little too large than you're comfortable with. Next time, scale it back, start a bit smaller. As I said before, you want to earn your way to a higher position. So it's a good idea to, I started off by setting myself a goal that I'll try and make $20 a day and then $50 a day. And when I made $50 a day for, a week, I moved it up a little bit to like $100 a day. It's not, and then if you struggle to do that, then they can kind of go back down a level. So it's all about really getting comfortable, expanding your comfort zone as you move up. So one of the things we covered yesterday was the Meteora stimulus LP package, the points program, where for every $1 of fees that you earn, you'll earn 1,000 points, and every $1 of TVL you put in the platform, you'll earn 1 point. The way I see this stimulus, it's called stimulus package for a reason. It's there to help you mitigate the risks of LPing. You can think of it as something that might help offset some of your losses. So get stuck in, don't be afraid to participate and keep trying until you get a hang of it. And one of the fastest ways to learn and accelerate your learning is to learn with others. The Meteora Discord is really fantastic for this. Get involved and ask, ask, does this seem like it's going to do this? Or you might want to check. Or even when you start teaching other people how to do stuff, it really helps cement the knowledge that you've made in your mind. So I got some questions here. This might be subtle, but does LPing pay the bills, or is it more like a side gig? If you're efficient enough and confident, can you make a living with enough liquidity? I mean, yes, of course. If you are LPing with enough, you can earn enough, but it's a long journey to kind of get there. Obviously, the market conditions heavily dictate how much or how little you might make, regardless of your ability and skill. So this is something that most people is a side gig. And so, yeah, that's a good question. It's something that we'll see. I mean, Meteora can grow still a lot, so we might get to that point. Okay, so moving on. So in order to survive and thrive, there are a few extra tools that we want to use. Some are on-chain tools, some are good for opportunity finding. So on-chain, I want to use something like rug check and bubble maps. And for opportunity finding, we might use Dex Screener itself, but also a community-made tool called metlex.io for technical analysis and sort of performance assessment. You've got Dex Screener again, it's pretty good for checking when you closed your position, if you made a profit. You can use metlex.io and to check overall if your wallet performance is up or down. You can use GeekLad's tool, all of which we will demonstrate live in due course today. All right, so first, let's have a look at some of the danger signs when LPing. We'll start with this. Because if it's not looking like a good opportunity, it looks sus and questionable, then it's probably not worth your time to even bother doing the other research. So I usually start with this. The first and foremost is checking that the token settings are favorable, and rugcheck.xyz is very good for this. So all you need to do is visit the website, put in the contract address, search, and it will tell you if it's mintable, which means that the settings can be changed. If it can be frozen, which would be a disaster, all your funds would be frozen, and you wouldn't be able to buy or sell. You just live in your wallet forever. If there's low liquidity, which means the volatility might be very high, the other very common problem that you might see is a lot of high ownership of one or a few people. So RugCheck is pretty good at this, but people are getting smarter. And so you might want to combine this with another tool called Bubble Maps, which we'll go in a second. And you can also see if this token is a copycat of another. Of course, the low liquidity is, for a beginner, a problem. As you become more advanced LPer, obviously, if there isn't much liquidity, that's potentially an opportunity for you, but it's a much riskier opportunity. So while you're getting comfortable with the DLMM, I would recommend staying away from low liquidity coins. Bubble Maps is a fantastic tool that'll show you how a token is distributed amongst all the wallets, all the holders that have that token. So what you want to check for is if there's a cluster of tokens that are only sending, a cluster of wallets that are only sending tokens between each other and not to the rest of the group. That tends to indicate that there's usually like one person with hundreds of wallets manipulating the price. So if they hold like 40% of all the tokens, they could sell it all in one go, and your position would be absolutely wrecked. So that's an extremely important thing to check, especially if you're starting to LP some of the newer tokens. And another very common honeypot scam that you'll find when trying to LP is wash trading. And so this is where usually the creator of the token or someone, an insider, is using bots to fake volume through usually the cheapest liquidity pool out there. So in this example, you can see the volume along. Can you see my cursor, by the way, on the screen?
Yeah.
Annotate. Yeah. You can see the volume along here. It's very uniform. It doesn't seem to spike. There's crazy gaps in the amount of volume happening, which is extremely unusual. I don't think you can ever see that organically. And so this for me would be very suspicious volume profile. This is probably the only place where it seems organic. That's probably because they made this big spike of purchase, and then afterwards people came and traded. Then they turned off the volume bots several times in this. So these are the kind of things you want to be looking out for. This faked volume is usually there to help push the token into the rankings of DEX Screener or other token ranking platforms. And so again, this is probably something you want to stay clear of. Okay, move on. How do I clear this? How about, okay, so now you identify a token you think it's safe to use. How do we find the right pool? And how do we find the right position? And I would begin with the Meteora Discord. A link will be shared at the end of this session. In the Discord, Pclad has created a very, very useful bot, Discord bot, that allows you to prompt several different types of categories. So you could see a list of different pools, how they performed recently, what kind of fee per 24 hours to TVL they get, if the token's generally trending up, how much, what's the market cap, and how much TVLs in that pool specifically, and then the bin step and the minimum fees of that DLMM. It's really good because Pclad has also done a great job of categorizing the types of coins into blue chip, stable, strict list, and memes. So a stable would be stable coins, a blue chip would be like Solana, and something like Sol. And a strict list would be something that, say, Jupiter has on their strict list. So that would be some of the bigger memes like Bonk or Whiff, something like that. And then memes would be basically anything else kind of new and riskier. So that's one great way of quickly navigating without having to open the Meteora app to navigate to the pool that you want to use. And then we have DLMM live together, which is a forum section of the Meteora Discord where people will post, other LP Army members are posting what they're currently LPing. They'll post what their thesis is, where they think the pool might, where the token might trend. And then you can just jump in that chat and ask questions and discuss with other people. It's a wonderful way of LPing with other people and connecting with others and learning how to do this successfully. So we are going to go through this live in the demonstration, but before we do, I think it's important to try and learn some of the indicators available in technical analysis that might be useful for an LPer. So first of all, we have support and resistance. And that kind of indicates the price points at which there will be a reversal, either in it going up or down in price. So a support would be when the price goes down and it hits a certain level that someone thinks, okay, this is worth me buying now. It's cheap enough for me to buy. And the price will start coming back up. A resistance would be when it's trying to escape breakout positively, but people sell, preventing that from happening. As an LPer, you kind of want it to range in between a support and resistance for a long period of time, with it breaking out positively at the end, which usually means that you're going to earn nice fees as it trades back and forth. Indecision in the token is generally something good for an LPer. When we talk about volume, we are talking about the amount of buys and sells happening for that token, the dollar value of that. And so we'll often look at the 1 hour volume, the 5-minute volume, the 1 minute volume to get a sense of just how popular and busy are the liquidity pools at that one moment. And if the volume's dying or if it's increasing, these are all indicators that you might want to use to augment your decision making. And when we say range, we're talking about sort of the upper and lower ends of the price range in which you think the prices will fluctuate between while you have your LP position open. So it's just useful to know that technical analysis is not, you can't predict the future. You're looking at averages of hundreds of wallets, thousands of wallets trading. So the more data, more information you have to look at, the better decisions you can make. So it's always useful to not just look in the Meteora, that particular DLMM's on Dex Screener. You might want to look at something like Radium, or one of the ones that aggregates all the trades across all of the different liquidity pools. This gives you the most amount of information in which to make a decision from. And you also might want to zoom out. Don't look just at the 1 minute and the 5 minute. You want to look at the 1 hour, the 1 day if it's available. And these are important basics for LPing. Then we get into slightly more advanced. So in my opinion, these are sort of indicators that I really like to use. I think are very useful for a LPer. And the first one is the MACD indicator, which is a histogram showing basically the volume momentum. So it's this one here. So what you're looking at is there's a zero line that goes across the middle. Anything above it generally indicates a bullish momentum, and below it is a bearish momentum. The further it is from the zero line, let me just change the colors. The further it is from the zero line, generally the stronger the momentum. The closer it is to the zero line, the weaker the momentum. And so you'll see here in the chart, you probably see the charts going something like this, something like that. So this really helps you get a sense of when something might reverse from the support or the resistance. When you get into the more advanced strategies of the DLMM, you can start flipping your position, your strategy, to maximize the fees you earn and the positive divergence that your tokens get from this price movement. So basically, this is a nice way to figure out when it might reverse. We move on to what's this? The RSI, the relative strength indicator. This one basically is used for the same decision making. It's a different indicator, but it tells you the same, essentially the same information. We talk about overbought and oversold, meaning if it's overbought, it's probably likely that someone's going to try and sell, and the price might start moving down soon. If it's oversold, it's the opposite. So again, there's a zero line, and the further it is from the zero line, the stronger the momentum. So I'm just trying to get the notation up. And these points where the price starts to drop, that's when you might want to make a decision to either close out your position or change your strategy. And these things are very useful in those situations. Okay, and then this one is probably the most useful one, in my opinion, the volume profile visible range. So this is going to put these bar graphs on top of the chart, showing you where the most buying and selling, which price range the most buying and selling has happened in. So you can see here on this example that a lot of the trading has happened sort of in this price range. And you kind of see that in the bar chart as it goes along. You kind of get a sense of where the trading is happening. So this is very useful in picking where you want your bounds of your DLMM, the boundaries, the upper and lower ends of the position to be set to. So let's move on. Just clear these drawings. So what strategy should you use? And when should you use it? So this is, to me, probably the most powerful aspect of the DLMM is the ability to adjust, change, combine different strategies for different situations. And when the LP Army sort of discovered that you could do one-sided deposits, that was a revelation in managing your risk. So we'll go through that one first, a one-sided deposit. This is a one-sided deposit. So in this example, the LPer is LPing Lucy and Sol, but maybe it had recently pumped to a high level. And buying some Lucy at this point would be foolish. You think it's about to retrace, it's about to drop back down in price for a bit, but you think long term it's still going to go up. So this is a way to accumulate Lucy with just Sol. So you deposit it single-sided. We'll do this in the demonstration. In this situation, they've also used the bid-ask strategy, which has created this curve where less Sol is deposited in the bins closer to the price, and more Sol is deposited in the bins further from the price. So as the price goes down, you will be buying more Lucy with the Sol that you have at a cheaper price. So this kind of amplifies your ability to buy the token, but it also minimizes your risk, because if the token doesn't rebound, then at least you didn't buy didn't spend all of the money that you're going to put into the DLMM position at that higher price point. You only put the little bits that you put at the beginning. So if you're going to cut your losses, at least it's not the full amount that you put in being sold at a loss, just a fraction of the amount you wanted to put it in. Of course, you can do this in reverse. So once the position has gone down to a lower price point, you can withdraw, which would now be Lucy in this example, and then redeposit it one-sided, all Lucy back up with the bid-ask the opposite direction. And so in this way, you're buying and selling the token at a lower price. You will be selling it at a higher price when selling more of it at a higher price when it gets higher. Yes, sorry, I'll slow down a little bit. So another strategy that we have is this is Heavy Metal Cook's approach, where the Sol is deposited one-sided in a bid-ask. So again, as the price goes down, you'll be gaining more Lucy at a cheaper rate. You're also earning fees. And so in this situation, what Heavy Metal Cook is doing in this example is claiming those fees and depositing them back into the LP, into the DLMM, and doing it bid-ask as well, so that if the price goes back up, he's at least selling the fees he earned at an even higher price. So this is another way to reduce some of the risk, because you might just let the price go down and back up, and then just deposit the fees in this area here, hoping to sell it at a higher price without having to commit the Sol that you had down here into the token. Maybe you don't think it's going to survive for very long. So that's one way of doing that.
One quick thing on that too. Can you bring that one back up?
Yeah.
Just to make everybody aware. So the reason it's kind of shaped the way it is because when he put those fees back in, the price was actually slightly higher. So you can't exactly, so like if the price were where the price is right now, where it says 387, if he was to deposit the fees, they would start, the purple would start from that price then. So sometimes when you see these weird shapes, it's because of something that happened in the past when the price was at a different price point.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, you get some real mutant shapes sometimes. So you kind of
Yeah.
do things. And here we have an example of the opposite. In this situation, this is Geeklad's toothpaste tube. He might be entering the LP when the price is at a recent low, expecting it to be going up. And so he's deposited somewhere, you can tell from the graph roughly where the deposit was made. I think it's around here, this price point, because you can see the curve starting to go up from that point. So here he's deposited a small amount of SOL below the price that he entered. And then the rest has been token that he's deposited in a bid-ask curve up. And so in this way, it might bounce down for a little bit, but then he expects it to go back up. And then this way, again, you're selling at a higher, selling more at a higher price, while accommodating some retracement backwards. This is also, this is swing trading essentially, but also earning fees at the same time. The other thing to note about this one-sided strategy where you have these bid-ask curves is that people tend to buy when the price is low or sell when the price is high and not really in the middle. Well, the most volume tends to happen at those points. So if most of your liquidity is placed in bins where the price is high relative to the recent trend, you're going to be able to capture more fees when that activity happens at that price range, if you use this kind of strategy. If, for example, you expect it to range quite regularly between, it's quite a stable price point, the bid-ask, this curve strategy that we're looking at right now is maybe not the best choice. You might want to just go with the spot just to make sure that fees are being earned in equal amounts at any price point. Geeklad, is there anything else you'd like to add about this particular strategy?
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. Yeah, basically you start with a spot, and yeah, right where you pointed out, that's where the spot was. So you can think of the spot kind of like as a foundation, right? And then after that, yeah, you layer on that bid ask in anticipation that the price is going to go up. But if it does do some retracement or does some back and forth, then you've got that sort of that foundation of bid ask to help earn fees. But yeah, no, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did with my one-sided was I started out with a base of spot and then added
Mm.
a big fat chunk, and that's why it looks like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that as well. I do a layer of spot. Say I was going to LP with 3 SOL, I would probably put 1 SOL as spot and then 2 SOL as a bid ask on top of it. And this way I'm kind of hedging between earning fees and earning divergence, like positive divergence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been
Uh,
doing that with Sol USDC. I've been putting my spot in a very small bin step pool, and then my bid ask in a higher bin step pool, like in the 20 bin step pool, and that's worked out pretty well.
because if you look at this example here, this bid ask chill by Mario, he's used the default bid ask setting, and the angle is pretty steep. So it means these few bins right down in the middle, there's very little liquidity in there. And if the price is hovering in that range for a good while, you kind of, a lot of your liquidity is idle. It's not really being used because it's in these bins above and below it. And so, you don't have to be confined to just having one or the other. You can combine the two and have a layer of spot to make sure you're constantly earning, and then a layer of bid ask to make the most out of the volatility. And as you get more experienced, you can kind of adjust these ratios based on what you think might happen or the risks that you think are being presented at that point in time. So just to kind of go over this particular setting. So in this I can tell from this strategy that Mario, who created this, is expecting quite a bit of swinging to happen between around 116 US dollars per sol and 132. So I'm guessing, knowing the behavior of sol recently, that this is pretty long-term position. This is weeks maybe. And as the price swings back and forth, he's earning a lot of fees in these areas where people are buying and selling, and expecting it. Basically, he's expecting volatility here. That's what this shows us. And so if it exits out this side, he will be left with only USDC, I believe. Yes. Yeah, it's Mario's birthday today. And if he had left this open, this would be positively out of the range, by the way, right now. So happy birthday to him. And if the price went down, he'd be left with only sol. But most of the sol he bought was at this price range between 119 and below. So then at least if he was to cut his losses at that point, he didn't lose as much as if he put in spot from this 123 area. Right, so moving on. So this is a favorite of one of the Goose Gang members. Basically, do this when it's dumping, do this when it's pumping. So what he's referring to is the one-sided deposit strategy. And I've gone into more detail, actually illustrating this on the chart. So you get a better idea of how to execute this. So in this example, this is Billy from a while back. The price had recently pumped, and I was expecting it to reverse. So at this point, I opened a position, one-sided sol, depositing sol in a bid-ask curve from this price 0.32 to 0.20. Yes, you can't do this on ETH, that's for sure. Then, when the price reached the bottom and moved out of range, I withdrew the liquidity from the position. You don't have to close the position to withdraw, by the way. You can just pull the funds out and leave the position open. And now I'm holding all Billy. So I deposited all the Billy back in one-sided. And this is also a bid-ask curve. So it's going, but in the opposite direction. So I placed it in this way, saying sell Billy the most at the higher end. And of course, the price went up. And exited out here where I was able to close in profit. And obviously, all these little retracements that happen on the way up, you're earning fees on as well. So depending on how involved you want to be, you can constantly be swapping between the two. Obviously, it's a skill in itself to be able to time when that happens. Or you could do it just like this, where you set it up, and then when it gets to the bottom, you just flip it over and wait for it to come out the top. And if you really wanted to maximize this strategy, you could also buy. So you could start with 50% of the funds that you wanted to LP, for example. You put it in the bid-ask, all sol. Then when it gets to the bottom, you take the other 50% and you buy Billy. And then you deposit that now 100% of your funds as a bid-ask up. And so this is essentially doubling down at the bottom. Now, this is something that should be done with caution, because obviously it could keep going down. But if you have your methodology in place and you know how much you're willing to risk per trade, this shouldn't be a problem, because you're okay with that amount of funds being risked in that situation. But things aren't always going to hit the marks that you set. So you might have to close it at this level. And you just want to generally get it, it's not always going to be 100% accurate. So what else does it say about this? So with this stacking of spot and bid ask, yeah, you're also ensuring that your fees, the yield that you get from the fees, isn't too diminished. Because obviously where the curve is the narrowest, you're going to get less fees. Okay, there's a question here in my chart where I'm at. Was I on the 15-minute, 4-hour display or the 1-hour display? It doesn't really matter. It depends on the time frame that you're willing to LP on. In this example, I believe this is like a 5-minute chart. Since I don't like to leave LP positions overnight, so I tend to LP over the course of one day. I tend to stick to the 1 hour, 5-minute, and 1-minute indicators. But if you're looking to do something much longer term, like a week or a month, then you definitely want to be factoring the day and the if there's a week chart in your decision making. Okay, so another question was being answered by one of the other instructors. Moving on. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go LP a position. We're going to put all of that we just learned into practice and give it a go. Time we have about an hour left. So let me just share my browser. All right, what can you guys see now? You guys see the browser?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the brand new Meteora homepage.
Love it.
Clean. All right, we've got a question before we begin. Do you think the best option is spot? Well, it really depends. It depends on the situation, and we'll go over that in a second. It might be that you're aiming for fees mostly, then spot would be the best. Spot is a pretty underrated strategy, I think. Curve is probably the hardest strategy to use, just because you're piling a lot of the funds at a very specific price point. So if it moves anywhere out of that price, then and it doesn't come back, you're in trouble. Basically, you're going to lose out to divergence. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're on the Meteora app. We launch the app, and we're going to go check out connect our wallet.
Yeah, I would say that the only time I really use Curve is, either in a stable pool or sometimes recompounding fees. If I want to sell them off, quicker, I might do a Curve with the fees. But yeah, otherwise, to your point, Curve is really difficult to do because of the impermanent loss.
Yeah. So here we are on the DLMM page, and you can sort by the 24-hour volume. As an LPer, you're kind of chasing the volume. Wherever the volume is, that's kind of where you want to go. As you might expect, Sol USDC is the biggest amount of volume at the moment, then JUP Sol, JLP, and then very hyped coin at the moment, Moondang, and INF and Sol. So you look into these. There's 67 pools. How are you gonna pick? Some have some in it, some have very little amount, $6 in this one, 41 cents in that one. General rule of thumb, you just go where everyone else is going. It's not really gonna diminish your position too much. But if you want to really get into the weeds, I would recommend metlex.io. So if you go to metlex.io, this is what you'll come across.
Maybe you can
And
zoom
you'll
that
see
a
this.
little bit.
How's that? Good?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, so if you go to metlex.io, you can see a few different tabs along here that you can check out. So first is fees, so you can kind of check how many fees you've earned on your wallet. You just stick your wallet address in here. You don't need to connect the wallet. It's just reading the blockchain. And we'll do the P&L in detail in a minute, later. For now, there's two sections that I really like to look at, which is the degen pools and the DEX thing. So DEX will show you all the pools across all liquidity providing platforms on Solana. And the degen one pools will just show you DLMMs. So for example, we're not going to LP this specifically, but we could do maybe mother. So we go into the mother DLMM, and I'm just going in here to get the token address, which is just here next to. And I'm going to copy. This is a great new feature, by the way. The token address. And I'm going to go back to Alex's tool, and I'm just going to pop the token address. Let's go with the DEX first. I want to see what the landscape of liquidity pools is for mother. So we're going to search it, and maybe I need to zoom out just so you get the scale of this. You can see we have a Radium pool with 3 million TVL. We have a Orca pool with 800K. We see a Meteora pool with 430K. And what you're looking at here is the amount of trade volume that's happened in each of these pools in the last 24 hours, 6 hours, 1 hour, 5 minutes. When you go to something like Jupiter to make a swap, and you type in mother and you're trying to buy it with your soul, Jupiter will route to the best option out of all of these pools for the trade that you're trying to make at the time that you're trying to make it. These different pools will have different fees. And so you can kind of think of it, I like to think of it, a good analogy is it's like SEO. Different pools will optimize and attract trades. So Jupiter will probably pick the cheapest option for the trader, and it will also pick the most efficient option, which means there's enough TVL in that bin or in that price point to facilitate the trade without having to spread it across multiple pools. And so these are factors that you want to consider when picking the pool that you want to use. Now, the difference between all these other pools and the Meteora DLMM is that you can as the liquidity provider, you can concentrate your liquidity in a very tight specific range. So even if the Radium pool has 3 million and the Meteora pool only has 400K, you can kind of force that routing to happen at that price point because you have enough liquidity in that band that that trader is trying to facilitate trades with. And so what we're looking here is the number of trades that are happening in each of these pools at these the number of buys and the number of sells. So we can see that this DLMM has, in the last 1 hour, had 35 buys routed through it and 38 sells routed through it. And this Orca pool, which has more TVL, almost double the amount of TVL, has got a lot less buys and sells being routed through it. And so we're seeing here in plain numbers how much more efficient the DLMM is with your TVL. And so this is probably because a lot of the funds in the Orca pool out of this 800K might not be anywhere near the range that's being traded at the moment. Whereas in this mother pool on Meteora, it seems like more of the TVL is in that range and it's facilitating an even trade, quite an even amount of trades between buys and sells in that 1 hour period. And the Radium pool, of course, is getting a lot of trades. It's got more TVL, so it's going to get the most. Okay. So, so this is a good way to just get a glance of what's happening for that token across all the different pools. Also, what other kind of pools exist? Like here's a strange mother and PopCap pool, and I would advise, just for the sake of your sanity, to avoid LPing with 2 memes or a meme and something else, because that's not solved until you get a real grip on the DLMM. It can be a bit more confusing when there's 2 tokens that aren't your root number. It's easier to work with if it's just Sol, for example. And Alex has done a great job of quickly linking you all of these different tools that we've been talking about. So let's have a look at the bubble map for Mother. I click that. What we're looking at here, these bubbles each represent a wallet. You can see this wallet ranked 85 with this wallet address owns 0.2% of all the Mother. This one ranked number 1, maybe is the team, has 2.9%. We can see this is an exchange. Gate.io has a lot of transfer volume coming through. That makes sense. This is probably just a whale. It's got 2.2%. What you're looking for when it comes to percentage is that no one entity or group of cluster has too much ownership, because they can really swing and influence the price quite a lot when that's the case. So Mother's been around for a couple of months now, so we can kind of see that it's more than likely not too bad of a rug. If it is a rug, it's a very slow one, and it's been endorsed by a lot of different people in the ecosystem. But you can see the distribution is pretty good. There's no one, anything like above 4% would, at something at this market cap would make you could make you a bit uncomfortable. We'll go back to the next tool, and now we'll check rug check. So rug check says it's good. It shows you here all the different liquidity pools, and you can see that this 99.3% of the liquidity is locked, which is good. The community sentiment is very high. It doesn't tell you that there's any problems with the mint authority or its ability to be frozen. And so I would sense that this is probably in terms of if this is a scam or not, I would say this is probably good. It's not. Whereas if we go to this DLM 100 tab, maybe we'll find something. So this is just showing the top 100 performing DLMM pools, by fee or by volume. And we'll just pick something looking a bit sketchy, just so we can see what a bad rug check might look like. Perfect. So here we can see that this token Xiaopang they're giving a warning because someone else has used this token address, this handle before, and that there's a very low amount of liquidity although 100% of it is locked. So this would be, you can see here the top holders own 18% of the coin, so that's a little high. So this you would exercise caution with. So just because it's appearing in these searches doesn't mean it's safe. So you need to do your research. Okay, going back to the looking at all the different liquidity pools. We'll go back to close this. We'll go to pools tab now. We'll go back here and we'll copy the mother token again, the token address, and we'll put it in the pools tab. So now what we're looking at here is just the DLMMs that exist for this token. You could see in this a more detailed breakdown specifically for DLMMs. So there's some for Mother and Soul. There's some for, if we scroll down a little bit, there's Mother and USDC. Some other Mother and Jup, Mother and Billy. There's lots of different ones. But let's say we only want to do it with Soul. So we'll have a look at this and see what the 24-hour fee per TVL. Now, if you were here yesterday, you would remember that this can be overstated or understated, and is only an average of the fees that the TVL in that pool has earned over the last 24 hours. And it could be that the TVL that's in this pool is not deposited in any of the bins that are being used to trade. So this is more like a rough guide. You know, that this is objectively performing slightly better than this one, and these two are performing relatively same. And so here we want to check out the TVL and compare it to the fees that it's earned today. So you can see 400K in here, and it's earned 2,900 in fees today. Whereas 42K in here is earned 152. So you could do the maths and kind of figure out, well, is there more opportunity for me in this pool versus this one? But you have to factor that there's different base fee. So this is a cheaper pool for traders, and a different dynamic fee. And a dynamic fee, if you recall yesterday, is about volatility and how often the price is moving between bins. And so you would actually expect the smaller bin step to have more dynamic fees because it's more granular, and so the price will the bins in use will move quickly as the price changes. But it's not the case in this situation, probably because there's just so much more TVL in this pool. So what these links we're looking at underneath is the link straight to the Meteora pool. Click that, go into it. If we go back, we see the links that take you straight to the DEX screener or the bird's eye pool. I prefer DEX screener for this specific pool. What's a lot of verifying needed. Okay, we have a question. How does the pool work? If a pool with 10K and a base fee of 2% will be the first priority, or a pool with 1K and a base fee of 0.5%? Okay, so it depends on a few things. The first thing is usually the TVL, because if there isn't enough liquidity at that price point, so say there was $100 of liquidity in this pool at the current price, but there was $1,000 of liquidity at the same price point in this pool, and someone wanted to buy and sell $600 worth of Sol, it would be routed through the pool that can facilitate that trade in one go. If it was smaller, it might go through the cheaper. If someone wants to trade just $10, it might go through the cheaper one. So it's a combination of all these things. It's hard to kind of really know for sure. Yeah, it's called liquidity depth. The best way to check which pool is catching the most trades is, in my opinion, you get the token address, which is copied from here. You go into the DEX tab in MetLex and you search it. And now you can just see quite obviously like which one is getting buys and sells going through. So we can see that this one's getting 53 buys and 40 sells versus 28 buys and 38 sells. So this is the cheaper pool, it's getting more trades, but doesn't necessarily mean that those trades are bigger than this might be getting bigger trades, for example. If you're not sure, it's good to just do a test. Try one, try the other, compare, see how they're going before you commit to the whole position.
Yeah, the other thing is that the prices are never exactly the same on all these pools, right? Generally speaking, I mean, in the long run, they all kind of move in tandem. But what happens is if a big trade hits a pool with, you know, small liquidity, it's gonna shift the price a lot. And then what happens is you have arbitrage trades happening that end up balancing out the price. So the price may shoot up or it may drop really deep, you know, really far down, but then an arbitrage trade is going to come in and put it right back into place, and it'll do it across all the pools. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how these things happen. But yeah, I think in general, if there's enough depth in a smaller fee pool, smaller bin step pool, then it's probably going to be attracting more volume, generally speaking.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to a bit of technical analysis. We know that Mother is getting trades. We know that Mother is relatively safe in terms of bubble and rug check. We're going to decide on the pool. Actually, let me just double check we got the right pool. We'll do it on this one with the 400K TVL in it. So, by the way, you can find the DEX screener link in the DLMM UI as well. So you just click whichever pool chart you prefer, and this will take you to the one specifically for this particular Mother Sol DLMM pool. So we can see here there's 100 bin steps. It's got a base fee of 0.8. The max fee always stays the same. It's always 10%. There's always, at the moment, no protocol fees. We can see the dynamic fee is only just a little bit above the base fees. So this is, it's not pumping, but it's not dead either. And it's getting, it's got 8K of fees in the last 24 hours. So we could see that, you know, there was, because obviously they just had the breakpoint and there was an event, so there was a lot more trading happening. And so we kind of missed the boat a little bit on that, but looking at the chart, we can see it's up from a recent period where there's very little volume. And in fact, if I go up to this, what we're looking at here, by the way, is price on the right, time on the bottom. Here you have what the US dollar price is, what the Sol price is, and how much liquidity, what the market cap is, etc. And so here in a glance, we can see in last, if I click these different parts of the table, you can see on the 24-hour, we can see how many transactions have happened in this pool, how much volume has happened in this pool. and that it's been 307 people that have unique wallets that have bought or sold this token. We can see that there's been generally more buy volume, and that's reflected in the chart. You can see it's gone up in the last 24 hours. And this is a useful way of just kind of getting a feel for how much volume in each of these time frames something's getting. And the more experienced you become, the more excited you might get if the volume is higher in one time frame than the other. So only 2,300 in the last 5 minutes, but 36K in the last 1 hour. So going into a little bit more depth, what we're looking at here is the volume along the bottom. If I just go up to the volume little thing here in the corner, like these 3 dots, I can click to move to a new pane below, and this will give me the ability to just zoom in a little bit on this chart and see things in a little bit more detail. So we can see there's a period of very low volume between these dates, and now a big uptick in volume. So we can expect some kind of retracement and probably some kind of sideways trending. Sorry, 1 second. Just delete these. Now we go back to the indicators I was talking about before, where you can click this button up here, indicators and strategies. Before we do, this is something I constantly do. Okay, we got a question. They're being answered by the instructors. So one of the things you want to make sure is this DLMM is mother and sol. This chart is showing us currently mother and USDC or USD. So you want to click this button for sol to make sure you're in the right. I quite regularly do a bunch of planning and charting only to realize that I did it in US dollars instead of sol. I wonder why the prices aren't matching up. This is probably why. So we have a look at here. The current price is 0.0005 sol per mother. So that's great. And so if we were to pick a position to open up on a chart where we might think what might happen, maybe we'll go down to sort of like the 1 hour time frame. We see that the volume is generally been trending up with the price trending up too. And so we go to these indicators. We talked about some of the ones earlier. What I'm going to do first is the MACD. If you click the star, you'll always pin it to the top of your deck screener. I'll also go find the RSI and the volume profile. So check the MACD. So we can see here that the histogram is showing a slowing positive momentum, meaning it's likely that this is about to be a reversal. You can see these 2 lines are about to cross. And if we look back in history, you can see where it crossed. Let's change the color of this to white. It crossed, and then almost straight after the price went down. Can you see on my screen, or is it too small? Need to zoom in a bit more.
Looks fine to me.
Yeah, I think it's good.
So you can see where these crosses happen tends to indicate when a change might be imminent. So here, at this point, if you were watching the chart live, you would be wondering which way it might go. Well, now with this additional information, you can see that the bullish momentum is slowing, meaning more sellers are starting to sell than buyers. And then when it crossed the 0 line, the price dumped. And then when it got to this point, you see that the momentum, the bearish momentum had changed. You can see that it's no longer bigger than the previous bar. And then that momentum diminished, getting closer to the 0 line, until eventually it hit the 0 at this point, which if we look at the chart is here. So now you know how to read the MACD and use it to augment like when you think something might change. Of course, it doesn't always happen exactly. Like you can see in this situation, it looked like it was about to reverse, but it didn't, and it actually pumped. So none of this is exact science. It's still susceptible to individuals' decisions. A big whale might come in and made a purchase against the grain because he wasn't looking at the 1 hour time frame. He was looking at the day and thinking, "Oh yeah, it's trending up," or maybe just didn't care. So in this situation, I can see that we're getting close to the lines crossing again. And we know that in the past, where the lines have crossed, it's reversed. So if I was to open an LP position, I probably wouldn't buy much mother at this point. I would probably deposit only sol, and I would aim to catch a retracement, which I think might be something. My ideal situation would be something like this. And so we can kind of verify this movement by looking at the relative strength index. And now we can also see that every time the RSI has peaked over this overbought line, which is 70 on the relative strength index, we've seen a change in momentum as well. And so combine these two indicators will help give you a sense of if it's going to go down in the near future, if it's going to go up in the near future. And of course, ideally, as an LPer, you might be most interested in this range here that we're seeing. Because according to the RSI and the MACD, we can see that the histogram is quite small comparative to here. So you could go quite tight with your range because you knew that the price isn't changing that much, not swinging like huge amounts up and down. And it's generally trending sideways. So if you LP'd, if you were in this from the 12th of August until for a whole month, you could have earned quite a lot of fees, and you would have been very glad to see this pump at the end. But now we're moving into a new range, and it seems to be a lot more volatile. And there's also opportunity here. We just have to pay a little bit more attention. Okay, so now we've checked out the MACD and the RSI. What we really want to find out is exactly where all the trades are happening. So let's just delete all these annotations. Okay, so what I showed before was the volume profile visible range. So turn that one on. And you can see these bars, and you can kind of read it immediately that a lot of trading has happened in these areas where the bars are the longest. So if I were to plot a position now for this, I'd probably I'd annotate on this chart so that I can refer to it in the future and remember what my thesis was. So we can see that there's some support around this area. That every time the price, since this recent pump, every time the price has gone around the 0.0037 mark, people found it attractive enough to buy, and it's reversed. We can also see that the opposite is true somewhere around here. So we would probably want to be a little bit more cautious and place our position slightly below these levels, because say, for example, the price did dip down to this area, we can expect a spike in volume. A lot of people will be like, yes, I'm buying now at this area. So it's worth probably setting the lower bound of your position there. For your upper bound, I mean, it depends how bullish you want to be. Probably let's just go a little bit over just to be safe. So by the way, with this with these annotation lines, which you can find here, you can do a trend line, which help you identify trends. For me, I like the horizontal line. This is very useful for setting your price points. Another trick you can do, or like little tip, is you click the lock button, because then I always kind of move them by accident when I'm annotating my positions. So I'll lock these in. So what I'm going to do is I'll just close these two for now. So we got a very wide position here. We expect it to reverse. We don't expect it to go really much further than this blue line here. And so let's set up the DLMM for this range. So a quick way of doing this is I click the line, pick the cog, click coordinates. And now this is giving me the exact price point. So if I want to be super accurate, I can just unlock this and move it to tuck it up right on the bar here. I can copy this, go to the mother pool, add my position. Now we're not really going to go, we don't think it's going much higher. We do think it's going lower, and I'm just going to replace this min price, paste in the one that we identified on our chart. And so we'll go back to the chart, find out what the max price we mapped out, 5404, copy that, paste it into here. So we think it might go up 7%, but it's more likely to go down around 30%. And so we're going to put in some sols. So we put in, turn off the autofill, because this is how we do the one-sided deposit. So if I put one sol in, you'll see it'll fill from the current price down to the lower bound. Since we were talking before about having a mix of spot and bid ask, what I'm going to do is 1/3 of my the amount, if I'm going to put one sol into this pool, 1/3 I'm going to put as spot strategy, and just that's while it's not connected. So
You'll follow along with this part. Chief, we're at 30
yeah,
minutes.
you definitely. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Copy this. Yeah, copy this one. I'm going to put 0.3 sol autofill off and spot and add. Okay, now we can see that most of our liquidity is below the price point, and the bin has balanced the amount that I put in this one bin step, in this bin, sorry. So it's kind of 50-50 sol and the rest of the sol. 6 roughly. I'm going to put as bid ask. Now you can see what we're talking about with the spot baseline and then of it, the bid ask. I'll add that. Okay, so this is set. Our trap is set, waiting for it to dip down. You know, you can't just stare at charts all day, so I want to set up a way of alerting myself. And I guess I would want to know if we cross this line where the most trading happens. So I'm going to set another horizontal line. I'm going to copy this price point, which is 0.00041. And I'm going to click alerts, enable. I'm going to make sure alert me when price of mother goes under this amount. And I might write, consider flipping that. So now it'll pop up on my screen when this price goes below that point. You could do the same for the others, the upper bounds. You know, price of mother goes over 5.4, DLM up, and the same for the other one.
Dick's tools can do this too. I like that one.
Yeah, all of them. I think all of them can do it. DLM down. So the advantage of this, I mean, Meteora does have a notification system built into it. It will just tell you if your range if it's gone out of range or not. With this, you know, you can set up. You could say, okay, we could say, what's the price range from here to here? It's 25%. So if it goes below 30%, you know, we could say, all right, we'll cut our losses with this trade. Say, if it hits this, I'm out. I sell all the mother I've got. I lick my wounds and move on. You know, so if it does exceed, game over. If it goes below this point, you know, I'm promised myself that I'd exit at that point, because it may dip below this line, but not all the way down and come back up. In which case, you know, so be it. But if it goes below my stop loss, this is what I've set, basically a stop loss, which I might make red, or different shade red. Then I know, like, that's when I've agreed, like, I'm just gonna walk away from this. So now what we're doing is we're waiting for it to retrace. This could take a while. And then we'll flip over the bid ask. Right, for the sake of this bootcamp, we're going to close this position and show you how to check your P&L and use the other community tools. Stop loss, you mean remove liquid? Yes. So I mean, if in this situation, if the price went below 0.000366 and it went out of range, then there's a chance it might bounce back in this space that's below my range. Oops, sorry. In here. But I've told myself if it goes any lower than that, then I'm going to withdraw the liquidity I have in here, swap it back to Sol, and walk away. So you could do this. You should do the same for the take profit. Like if it gets, you know, 10% or 5% above the upper bound, maybe you want to sell all the mother at a profit and walk away, and say that's that. So this is just good practice to manage, to make sure that you lock in those profits and you don't ride it all the way back down to zero. and your tolerance for when this might happen or how much you're willing to, that depends on each person, you know.
Chief, how
So
do you
anyway,
generally like to decide where to put your drop loss? Like how far below the outside, the end of your range do you typically set that limit?
well, in this situation, we can see, there's quite clearly a new trading range in sort of this kind of level here.
Yep.
Um, so I'd say if it went below, because we're looking at the volume profile indicator, these bar charts on the left, we can see that there's another trading range that was happening here, and then there's this new trading range. If it crosses the line, that's usually where I would call it quit, basically. Because I think once it starts free falling, it's really just hard to know where it's going to stop. Especially for a meme, it's hard to tell. It's sometimes better to just leave it, come back in a few hours, and just that's and then make a decision from there where you have new information. Okay, it went down, and we want to close check how much we made or lost. So we can see that actually moved one pin down, and we sold some of our SOL and bought some mother, and we earned a little bit of mother fees. So what I'm going to do is click withdraw, 100%, withdraw and close. Confirm. You can see this little box in the bottom left-hand corner. If I control click view transaction, it'll automatically open it in a new tab, the transaction SOL scan. And here we can see the stuff that's actually written onto the blockchain. We can see we removed liquidity from the DLMM. Yes, you can do that, D. You could just keep LPing, and it depends on your sentiment towards the coin in the long run. Okay, so you see it says success here. Does not necessarily mean it's actually written onto the chain. So we're just going to refresh and just double check until we can see finalized max confirmation. So we're going to copy that. This is the signature, not your wallet address. This is the unique signature of this transaction. You're going to copy that signature, and you go back to MetLex. And we're going to go to this P&L tab. In the P&L tab, we're just going to paste that signature and search. And so it's going to show us that we deposited some SOL, we deposited some more SOL, we claimed some fees, and then we withdrew. And we lost 20 cents. Obviously, we did only 7 minutes. It could be a different question in a few hours. We can see that the time frame of these movements are roughly in the hours, a few hours. So if you go back to the DLM, you'll see you have no positions live.
Chief, we're at 20 minutes left.
Okay, so we'll go back to the presentation. We'll go over what's required for the bootcamp to graduate. Okay, you seeing the presentation now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. All right, cool. Let's go into the task that you'll need to complete to get the LP Army private role. And you can submit it through this form on the QR code. So it's going to be open for 1 week from today. And it'll take us a bit of time after that week to to assess your positions and check if it hits the criteria. So be patient. So the graduation criteria, you need to open a new position. It has to be a new one. It has to be from today. You have to LP with at least $100 worth of tokens. That could be all Sol, it could be all Mother, in the example we just did. It could be a mix of the two. You have to have it open for at least 1 hour. You cannot use a stable pair like USDC, USDT, or like Sol, INF. Use something with a little bit more volatility. And then you have to close the position. That means withdraw and close, so that you get that signature that I just showed you. And you're going to put that signature into the MetLex tool, and you have to have achieved at least 5% profit. If you can do that, you've made some money and you've won the Discord role. No, Sol and USDC is not possible. You have to try
yes,
something.
it is. No,
It is?
it's okay.
Oh,
Yeah, Sol USDC is good.
oh,
'Cause
sorry.
it's
My
a
bad.
volatile pair.
Yeah.
Okay.
And guys, I did the requirements are in the form itself, but this is what gets most people is that they didn't read the graduation criteria and they submit their form and it's wrong. And we don't want that to happen to you, so make sure you read. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you have to make a minimum of 5% profit. You don't have to make exactly 5%. So you can make 6, you can make 8, hopefully 20. That would be great. You can't have 4.8, it has to be 5%. It has to be 1 hour, it has to be at least $100. It has to, yeah, it could start today, but it has to be from today onwards. It can't be from yesterday or last week. And if you didn't get the role, it's probably because it didn't hit one of these criteria. So does anyone have the URL? Cook, do you have the URL for the submission?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay, we'll post it.
I'll put it in the chat. You go ahead. Proceed with the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so to reiterate, because a lot of people get this confused when they're submitting into the form, you need to go through the MetLex P&L function. So that means you withdraw and close your DLMM position. You go to SolScam. You copy the signature, not your wallet address, the signature of that transaction, and you paste it in the P&L tab. So you can see P&L here. You put your transaction signature into this box and you press the rocket. You'll be presented with something that looks like this. You want to verify that you meet the requirements, which is that the opening date is today, and that your profit and loss percentage is greater than 5%. And then you'll want to copy the URL that the tool will produce. And that's what you're going to submit. That URL is what you submit into the form. It has to be for 1 hour, remember. It has to be 5%. It has to be from today onwards, and it will close in a week's time. Any questions about that? It's not 5% a week. It could be 5% in 2 hours. It could be 5% in 3 days. It just has to be 5% of the deposit that you put in. If it's more, great. And once you graduate, once you've submitted successfully, you'll be given a role in the Discord, and you'll also receive an NFT that look like this in your wallet. And just before we get into questions, I'm just going to go back to this here. This is GeekLad's tool, and this is fantastic for checking your overall performance on a wallet. So this is in the resources page that we shared earlier. So, the metlex.io is great for checking how your one position performed. But if you want to check how you performed as an LPer over the course of 1 week, this is a fantastic tool for it. All you have to do is paste your wallet address and press go. You're not connecting your wallet to anything. The tool is just reading information on the chain. And it will display something that looks like this. This will also tell you how many points you've earned for your fees. Of course, this is an estimation because there are other factors that may augment points that we're not aware of. It'll tell you what fees you made in US dollars. You can filter by date. It's a fantastic way of just checking the overall performance of your LPing. This is why at the beginning I said it's a good idea to create a new wallet, a separate wallet for LPing, so that it's easy for you to track stuff like your performance over time. And a really fun thing to do here is you can download the transactions. There's a button here on the top left. You could put them into ChatGPT. You can ask it questions. What's my win rate? Do I tend to win more if I LP with a larger amount, or do I tend to lose more with a larger amount? All these kind of things really help refine your ability and improve. Right, so before we end, we're close to about 10 minutes left. We'll open up any questions that anyone has about stuff we talked about today. Of course, this is a very dense and big subject to wrap your head around, and there's lots of different things to learn. This is just a surface level of what's possible. We really recommend that you get involved on the Discord and check what other people are doing and how they do it. Ask questions, get involved. I'll go back to the QR code for you guys now. That's going to be your best way to learn. Just get involved every day. Start small, set achievable goals, and earn your way towards making more and more per day. Yeah, any questions that anyone have?
I think this has been great, Chief. And yeah, I'll just reiterate, there's a lot of really great people in the Discord. We're very helpful, to answer questions and help you out with that. We won't be sharing the links to the role forms in Discord. We don't do that. You need to take the boot camp. So it's in here. At least take the time to watch the video, scan and whatnot. And the NFTs, those take a little bit longer to be issued because they are issued by the teams themselves. So usually a couple weeks after graduation is closed and finished, I send those over to the team. They get done in a single batch. So just be patient. You'll get it if you graduate. And we hope that everybody here does graduate. We love adding people to the LP Army.
So you had a question, where do we need to send a link with the transaction before the deadline? If you scan this QR code that's on the screen, it'll take you to a Google form. That's where you put it. Yeah, you get the LP Army private, you get access to some other parts of the Discord where there's a bit more discussion that you can have. Yeah, that's it's really, I'm in there all the time. Please at me if you have any questions. And of course, the other guys here are available to answer questions. So on this form, you add your Discord ID, then you go to the next page where there will be the URL. This is not the last bootcamp. We plan to do more. Is that correct, Heavy Metal Cook?
Say that again. Is this the last boot camp?
Yeah.
No. No, we
No, not at
are
all.
looking to do boot camp basically every month. So there will be one in October, and we're actually working on some advanced boot camps. So keep an eye out in announcements in the Discord for that. But yeah, if you need to do boot camp again, it'll be there. We want to keep bringing people on to the Army.
And of course, they're all on YouTube, and they'll be posted on X as well, the recordings.
Yeah, unfortunately, the YouTube recording says breakpoint. We're gonna get that fixed, hopefully, but it is on X. It's out there.
There's also a great place to get involved, ask questions, and follow along is the LP Jam. It happens once a week, which is a really interesting thing for me to watch. I don't LP with $50,000, so it changes the decisions you try to make. It's interesting to see how that differs, but in theory, a lot of the thesis is the same, or the kind of just the amount is bigger. And if you get involved and you come up on stage, you can also present your ideas of what you think might work, and have potential to share in some of the fees they earn from that LP Jam. Yeah. Right, should we put the song on?
Do it. Close it out.
Do it.
All right.
Boot camp is about to begin. Rise up, it's time to log in. LP Army will teach you the way to be LP warrior starting this day. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul, and now we sing our song. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul, and now we sing our song. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Bearable we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Spot, cupid, ask, use them all. Winning's the task, we heed the call. Boot camp, join our ranks so tight. Listen to the goose gang and gain your might. We will print and we will earn points through Danish tokens burn. Join the ranks of the brave and bold. Story of the LP Army told. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Bearable we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rug and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Make your position and join the pool. Post your wins with Alex's tool. LP Army, we fight to win. Your journey is about to begin.